Breaking today, Prince Harry under dramatic financial pressure after his devastating courtroom loss to the Daily Mail, as Elton John, the one man with enough money to save this guy, finally says enough. Finally says, "No, Duke, I'm not your bank." This incredible reporting coming from Paula Froelich of Paula Froelich Uncensored. She is going to reveal all of the astonishing inside story behind this. But first, let me just take you through what she has revealed, because as I say, it's very significant given these costs. These costs could be up to 50 million. She writes, Elton John may finally have had enough with the wayward spare. Elton and Prince Harry have been close for decades due to the pop singer's close friendship with Princess Diana. After Diana's death, John took it upon himself to be a godfather-like father figure to her sons and formed a close bond with Harry. He performed at Harry and Meghan's wedding, stood behind the couple when they took their freedom flight after ditching the royal family and their royal duties, loaned them his private jet to come and see him in the south of France in 2019, as well as Ibiza, and donated to Harry's now-defunct Archewell Foundation. But the loss to the Daily Mail may have broken the bond, or at least weakened it. Because finally, it seems, Elton has had enough of the wayward and hot-tempered prince and has told Harry, "I am not an ATM." That's according to Paula's sources. The problem started when John introduced Harry to his lawyer, the slippery, slimy, are my words, and I've come up against him in court, David Sherborne. Harry then joined the lawsuit against the Daily Mail, accusing it of illegally obtaining information and helped bring in other defendants such as poor Baroness Doreen Lawrence, a woman who lost her son to a racist murder. She didn't need this. While John may have seen the writing on the wall in December when the claimants desperately tried to settle with the paper, they white-knuckled it through the disastrous trial, which was especially damaging for Prince Harry, who came off as pompous, petulant, and most importantly, untruthful during his testimony. But it was Harry's bad behaviour before and after the ruling came down that really shocked Elton John. Paula is told that Harry, facing a massive funding shortfall for Invictus, had stopped by Elton and his husband David Furnish's place in the south of France to ask for money before arriving in London. John, already aware that he would be on the hook for the majority of the legal bills should the claimants lose, was not interested in donating, especially as he knew he was facing a massive payout in the event that the group would not win their claims. Harry asked Elton to donate to Invictus Birmingham, my insider said. Harry feels John brought him into this whole lawsuit and therefore should help him out with Invictus. Elton is not a bank, my source added. Elton said no, and Harry was very hurt. But then the court swatted down all 97 claims from Harry, John, and the other claimants, and Harry made his second bigger blunder by issuing a rash, dramatic, and out-of-line statement attacking the judge in the case. And by the way, Elton John didn't sign on to that statement. Everyone should be very clear on that. And this attack will likely have severe implications on the cost of the trial, Paula reports, and how much Elton will have to pony up. This is not the first time Harry has been annoyed with John, as he wrote in his memoir Spare after hearing that the Benny and the Jets singer wanted to serialise his autobiography in the Daily Mail. I mean, he did. The Duke had no choice but to voice his concerns. Harry asked the multi-Grammy Award winner why he had chosen a publication he claimed had made his life miserable. The singer's response was that he wanted people to read the book, forcing Harry to back off. I loved him. I'll always love him. And I also didn't want to spoil the holiday, Harry added.
For years, Sir Elton John was considered one of Prince Harry's closest and most loyal allies outside the royal family. Their friendship stretched back to Harry's childhood through Elton's close relationship with Princess Diana, and over the years Elton consistently stood by the Duke of Sussex. He performed at Harry and Meghan's royal wedding, publicly defended the couple after their royal exit, lent them his private jet during one of the most turbulent periods of their lives, and even became one of the high-profile claimants alongside Harry in the legal battle against thee. But now, after Harry's devastating courtroom defeat, royal commentators are asking one question. Has Elton John finally reached his limit? According to reports circulating among royal commentators, Harry's loss in the lawsuit could leave him facing an enormous legal bill. While the final costs are still to be determined, the figures being discussed have sparked intense debate about how Harry will manage the financial burden. That's where the story takes another dramatic turn. Commentator Paula Froelich claims that before arriving in London for the trial, Harry reportedly approached Elton John seeking financial support for the Invictus Games, believing Elton had played a role in introducing him to lawyer David Sherborne and the legal battle that followed. Those claims have not been independently confirmed, but they have fueled speculation that the friendship may now be under serious strain. According to those same reports, Elton's response was simple. He's not an ATM. If true, it would represent a significant shift in one of Harry's longest-standing celebrity friendships. For years, Elton appeared willing to support Harry through difficult moments, but commentators argue that this latest legal defeat may have changed everything. Harry not only lost the case, but also publicly criticised the judge after the ruling, a move some legal observers believe could complicate the ongoing battle over legal costs. If Harry's actions increase the financial exposure for the other claimants, it's easy to understand why tensions could begin to rise. What's particularly interesting is the difference between the two men. Elton John has spent decades navigating the media spotlight. Despite his disagreements with newspapers over the years, he has also worked with them when it benefited his projects. He understands the balance between fighting public battles and protecting his long-term interests. Harry, on the other hand, has made media lawsuits one of the defining features of his post-royal life. Supporters see him as standing up for press accountability, while critics argue the endless legal battles have become costly distractions that are damaging both financially and personally. The public reaction has been just as striking. Across social media and YouTube, thousands of viewers weighed in after the reports emerged. Many argued that Elton owes Harry nothing, with comments suggesting it's time for the Duke to stop relying on wealthy friends to solve his problems. Others questioned whether Harry's reported expectation of financial help reflected a growing sense of entitlement. While online comments don't establish facts, they do reveal a noticeable shift in public sentiment, with many people expressing sympathy for Elton rather than Harry. The bigger question now isn't simply whether Elton John said no. It's what happens if one of Harry's most influential supporters is no longer willing to stand beside him. Since stepping back from royal duties, Harry has relied on a relatively small circle of high-profile friends and business partners. If relationships within that circle begin to weaken, it could leave him increasingly isolated at a time when he's facing expensive legal battles, ongoing security disputes, and pressure to maintain the lifestyle he and Meghan have built in California. It's also worth remembering that none of the key figures involved have publicly confirmed these latest claims about money or the state of the friendship. Until they do, much of the discussion remains based on reports from commentators and unnamed sources. But even so, the story has captured attention because it touches on something much bigger than one legal case. It raises questions about loyalty, accountability, and whether Harry's decisions are beginning to test the patience of even his closest allies. Whether this is simply a temporary disagreement or the beginning of the end of one of Harry's most important friendships remains to be seen. But one thing is certain. After years of standing firmly in Harry's corner, the possibility that Elton John may finally be stepping back has become one of the biggest royal talking points of the moment. And if Harry really has lost the support of one of his oldest and wealthiest friends, the consequences could extend far beyond the courtroom.
Well, Paula Froelich, great reporting, firstly. Secondly, much more than the holiday has just been spoiled because Elton John has a lot of money, right? But as that anecdote proves, he's also a much more practical man when it comes to all of this stuff. He wasn't really on a particular moral mission in the way that Prince Harry was. He wanted to deal with what he saw as an illegality amidst the Daily Mail, move on, but also still work with the Daily Mail on projects like the serialization of his autobiography. And I have some understanding of that, Paula, because I actually got to know Elton John pretty well in my mainstream media career. And remember, I was one of the biggest critics in the mainstream media of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. But he'd still sit down with me. He still invited me to the world premiere of his big film. And I'm not saying he was doing it for altruistic reasons. He was doing it because he understood the media game. He knows how it works. He knows how you have to do these deals, keep people on side. And to me, Harry